something about nature that's helped me with my faith recently, and how nature can help you with faith in your life. And my scripture it's found in Psalms 121, verses 1 and 2, and it says, "I will lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, who is the maker of heaven and earth."
Amen.
And we have two beautiful mountains on this island. Yes, one is raging, and the other one's possibly raging. But we have the gift of God that He gives us every day when we open our eyes and we go outside, and we can see just beauty everywhere. And we especially can lift up our eyes into the hills, and we can see, there you go, thank you for coming. We can see how good God is in our lives, and it just increases our faith. Well, all of you pretty much know that we're moving, my husband and I, to another country. Well, our only child, our daughter, lives in that country. And when she went 4 years ago, she entrusted her dog to us. And we've been trying to find a home for our dog. And so our dog's been going visiting places. And that's why the scripture has meant so much to me, because our dog has been going on different journeys. And I told my daughter, I will not give our dog away unless I give him to a good home. I promise you that. And so the first house that our dog went to, the dog's name was Jack. Not my husband, but the dog's name was Jack. And he was 10 years old, and these people wanted, our dog's name is Kincha, which means green tea, and in Japanese. And our daughter, I promised my daughter, I'll check this out, you know, he'll go visit, he'll spend the night. Well, Jack is 10 years old, and Jack had a foot injury. So when Kincha spent the night, they said it was a wonderful dog, but when they wanted to play, Jack's foot got more hurt because he was, you know, you know what dogs do, they roll around and they play with each other. So Kincha had to come home, so I looked up into the hills and I said, Lord, you're going to help me with this, because I don't have the answer, but I know that I have faith in you that you're going to take care of even my dog. That's important to me. So then Kincha went to visit another family, and this man has a business, and his business is in a house with a big yard, and he had a dog named Hurley. And Hurley was more of a pup. He's just a couple years old, just a wonderful animal, and Kincha and Hurley loved each other. So he spent a couple nights with Hurley, but then on the weekend, the doctor brought his wife's two little teeny dogs to meet Kincha. And his two little teeny dogs wanted to play with Kincha too, but Kincha picked one of those little teeny dogs up in his mouth, and he wasn't going to hurt the dog. But the wife got really, really scared because Kincha put a little teeny hole in his neck when they were playing. So Kincha came home. So I kept looking to the hills and saying, Lord, I lift up my eyes into you. From where comes my help? My help comes from the Lord. It comes from you who made heaven and earth. You're the maker of everything. So then there was another family that had lost their dog, and they were an older couple like my husband and I. And they wanted Kincha, and they had 10 acres. But they had some really pretty chickens. And they were prize chickens, and we told them, he is a hunter. He kills mongooses and he kills rats. Well, our other dog does that too, so it's okay. It's just okay. So I said, okay, 10 acres sounds really good, because my daughter said, Mommy, even though she's a lady and she's a teacher, she said, Mommy, he cannot be tied up, ever. He cannot be tied up. So I had rules. No tying up our dog, and they have to walk our dog. So 10 acres, not a problem. Well, Kincha was visiting for a couple weeks. Kincha came home. Kincha killed one of the lady's chickens and ran off her cat. So Kincha came home. Now Kincha's now with 4 little girls on an acre, fully fenced, so Kincha can be free. So hopefully hopefully this is the right home, and if it's not, we have a veterinarian that wants kinship, and we have another family that wants kinship. But emotionally, for me, this has been, I've cried and I've cried and I've cried because this is my baby too. But God hears our prayers. He knows when things are so hard for us, even when you're a child and you have things in your life that really, really are bothering you. You look up to Mauna Kea and you look up to Mauna Loa and you remember that scripture. And that scripture says, let's read it. It says, I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. And that's where our help comes from. Even though we're big people, we still have really small things that we think are small that we want God to help us with. But God is always there to hear our prayers. He's there to calm our fears, and He's there to love us. No matter what happens, God will never take His love from us, and He cares about my dog. So thank you for listening.
Amen.